Hello and welcome to Critical Idiots. Today we're reviewing the new Nicolas Cage movie, Pig. I made the mistake of going into this movie expecting it to be a Nicolas Cage movie and not considering that perhaps one in every 40 movies he makes something that's actually worth kind of taking a step back and considering it and thinking, is this a good movie? So today I posit to you, is Pig a good movie? I think it's harder to get to the bottom of that question. For some people, this is a existentialist deconstruction of the new animal revenge indie or action sort of genre that's been going around, and this movie definitely subverts that in some ways, and you almost don't want to get into it too much because you don't want to spoil it too much, but it's one of those movies that if you go in expecting John Wick, you're going to be either extremely disappointed or extremely blown away by what the movie chooses to do. I think Michael Sarnoski does a good job as a first-time filmmaker. He makes something with definitely some interesting ideas throughout. The way it's shot fluctuates between looking like a really interesting indie movie to sometimes a high-end student film. To me, it sort of fluctuated between the two of them, sometimes looking really nice and then sometimes looking very cheap. I thought that Nicolas Cage gave in a surprisingly tender, empathetic portrayal of someone going through grief, on top of all kinds of other things. The twist about who he really is as a person, I'm still torn over, because on the one hand it makes the film very unique and brings it into this dimension that you honestly weren't expecting, but on the other hand it's perhaps a little bit silly. So the whole movie kind of flirts between this line of me not being able to take it seriously, but also being surprised at how serious the film's goals are to the viewer. And I think in terms of movies that are coming out at the moment, I don't think there's many movies that are going to be polarizing in such an interesting way as this one.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Alex Wolff, previously seen in Hereditary, gives a good performance as the sidekick to Robin, played by Nicolas Cage. He gives a really good performance, I think. Sometimes it's funny how the movie cuts him off when he's trying to hype himself as this big kind of like player. But underneath the bravado, we see a tender, hurt young man. That tenderness definitely links the two in an odd couple that's a fun dynamic throughout. Given the film's short runtime, it doesn't get to spend a hell of a lot of time on that dynamic, but while it's there, it's always welcome and definitely provides a lot of the highlights. The theme that they explored with Nicolas Cage's character really conveyed how in life there's not too many things that we truly get to care about, and it really put an emphasis on appreciating the things that ultimately matter the most in our lives, and trying to hold on to some integrity or selfness as we go through our day-to-day. However, in saying that, I feel like the movie is definitely burdened and blessed by its ridiculous premise, which on paper boils down to Nicolas Cage searches for his pig that's been kidnapped, but ultimately attempts to be more than that, and in the being more than that, I feel like the movie stretches itself and becomes somewhat ridiculous, while ultimately that being what's interesting about the movie. For fear of repeating myself, that is the core of what I'm conflicted about when I talk about Pig. Those diehards that are looking for the memes in a Nicolas Cage movie, this isn't really a meme Cage. I don't think it's gonna entertain the same way a Wicker Man.
What is it? What is it? What is it? Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast!
Or even something that is good like Mandy would. but at the same time, it's still pretty weird and bonkers and absurd. And there's one great restaurant scene that's worth the price of admission alone that reminded me of something out of Fight Club, but sort of absurdist Fight Club. Actually, there were a lot of touches throughout the film that reminded me of Fight Club. Ultimately, I think while being a worthwhile movie and blessed by a super short runtime that was exactly what it needed to be, not a second too long, but even then, not so much to write home about. Definitely interesting, funny at times, tender. I would give this movie a 7 out of 10. What did you think? I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about the movie in the comments. Let me know what you want to see covered, if you want to see it covered by me, Brody. And anyway, have a good day. Bless. And stay sane in these trying times.
I seem to have lost my human.